Okay, we are live. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Motor Vehicle and Transportation Subcommittee meeting on today, Thursday, February 23rd. We've got a pretty full agenda, so we will just dive in. As we go along, there are going to be a couple of adjustments to the agenda, just so you know. That's going to happen in part because I try to get it out to you as early as possible so you all can have the time to read things. So from time to time, things may be pulled off at the last minute. But that said, let's start with HB 70. Patrick, you want to walk us through this?
Well, first of all, you were asking what's different from last year to this year. You want to start with that? Okay.
Please.
Last year's bill, if you remember, it had some mandatory appropriations for ADA retrofit, bicycle retrofit, safety and spot improvement. These were large amounts of money, sidewalk program, traffic management, like 7.5 million, 6.2 million, 44 million for safety and spot improvement, 8.5 for sidewalk, 39 for traffic management. That's not in this year's bill. No mandated appropriations. And also this year's bill has required reports on signalized crosswalks, fully signalized pedestrian hybrids and the like. And that was not, I've seen that before somewhere. She must have gotten it from another bill, but it was not in last year's bill, apparently. So she's got another report required in this year's bill. Now we can go through this year's bill, or I can go through the amendments on this year's bill if you'd like, which we got from her the other day. This bill, for starters, it requires an MDOT in any construction project, basically, to recommend and implement context-driven design elements for pedestrian and bicycle safety. Now, those context-driven are basically taking a look and saying, how do we categorize this? Suburban, urban, traditional town hall, that type of thing. And there's going to be different needs in different places. Some are going to have a lot of people walking and biking. Others are going to have more open spaces and the like. So they have different tools that they use. And then if they're doing a new construction, then they have to implement as many of the temporary or immediate safety, they call it incremental near-term safety improvements immediately while they're going through with the project. That's for projects that take 12 months or more. And then there's the report, they're requiring report on staffing positions and mainly on people who work on these projects. And then the report on signalized crosswalks that are implemented. The amendments narrow the information about employees and contractors that they were looking for to information on clarifying and honing reporting on state employees and contractors that are dedicated to bike ped improvements, just bike ped improvements. And they also do limit the projects, not to all construction projects, but improvement projects in the capital program. I presume that that's because new projects already have this incorporated. And then she extended out the reporting date. I think was hoping to cut the fiscal note down a little bit, but I think she might be backing off that, just based on an email I got from her. We might go back to the original date.
Okay, so we are not going to vote on this bill, but I want to open it up for discussion. Anybody have any questions on the bill? Yes, Delegate Morgan.
Thank you. I can't figure out my little button is. I understand the intent. However, I think, Patrick, you just said last time there were a bunch of mandated numbers.
Correct.
And I read page 3 of the fiscal note, what scares me, no pun intended here. It says, according to them, potentially the These requirements could increase costs significantly, according to MDOT, potentially by tens of millions of dollars, requiring additional funds to be redirected from other projects beginning as early as fiscal year 23. However, a reliable estimate cannot be made. So when I go back to my days as commissioner, we always got worried when the Transportation Trust Fund got raided and money got redirected. So while there are no mandates in this, it still seems from the fiscal note that it could be a huge financial hit later on, TBD, but the money's still going to have to come from a pot of money that redirects money from other projects within the state. So am I missing something here?
Sounds to me like you're getting it.
Okay, I'm glad we're not voting on it then. Thank you, Delegate Love.
Any other questions? Yes, Delegate Healy.
Yeah, I just a question, a kind of a little bit along the same lines, but more like whether adding these levels of mandated actions can jeopardize an actual project from going forward because they, for some reason on the ground, they can't do it. For instance, if you have to, have crosswalks near the bus stops, and there isn't a way to put one near the bus stop, and you have to negotiate with the bus company, or you're going to, or you just don't have one. I guess there's sometimes it's just not practical to do it. And that, does that mean they're not going to do the whole project? I mean, if they have to do these additional things.
Yeah.
And they can't.
It's always possible.
Good question. Any other questions? Thoughts, comments? Okay, so we're going to put this aside.
Okay.
And move on to Patrick, we're on 208, correct?
Yes. Yes, and this is interesting. This is Delegate Lehman's bill, cross-filed in the Senate. That's given us a lot of problems in the last couple of years, but it's also very popular. One of the issues with this bill is the defined term for exhibition driving. In fact, as far as I can tell, that's really the only issue. The elements in the General Assembly members are a little uncomfortable with the current definition, which is, for the record, current law that has passed the General Assembly. I think it probably could be tightened up a little bit, but we don't want to upset Ocean City's program, which altering the definition could do. Now, I heard just this morning that this morning or yesterday evening that the Senate is working on some possible languages with Ocean City, and if they come up with something that makes all of those groups happy, then that would probably work over here too. So I think we're going to wait on the Senate and see what they come up with, and they're voting tomorrow.
Allegedly. Yes, Delegate Davis.
Thank you. Delegate Love and I sat in on the Ocean City bill last year. And if you remember, the Ocean City bill was very, very broad. It allowed them to determine, and I'm not going to use the right terminology, like a state of emergency and shut down roads and do all kinds of stuff. And that's why they were very strong on don't change our bill. So I want us to make sure we make sure we're not doing that.
Well, what they did was special event zones. And,
yes.
And that bill did pass. That was 2020. It's right before the pandemic. And the those elements, those particular elements, special event zones, are not part of this bill.
Good. Good.
They are not part of this bill, but the definition is the same.
You know, the word I was thinking of is martial law. I mean, I'm so mad that I supported that, but it enabled them to just pretty much say, hey, you're here, we don't want you here, and so we're gonna make it a civil rights holiday.
Oh my God.
That's what I believe. And I'm so mad. I'm so mad that I supported that. And I believe it's working for them, but I haven't heard from other members of the community that it might be used against, but we don't want that throughout the state.
Okay. Any other comments, questions, thoughts? Okay. So we are holding this pending what JPR does.
And do you want me to go through the death amendment real quick?
Yes, would you
Emergency
please?
Amendment.
Yep.
There is one amendment that we're looking to adopt. And currently the bill talks about 2 violations, one existing and one created by the bill. The one created by the bill is prohibition against engaging in exhibition driving. The current one is the racer speed contest. The bill applies penalties to somebody who violates those provisions and it results in the death of another person. It was brought up that this could be merged with vehicular homicide and therefore lessening the penalty for vehicular homicide. And by taking it out, we still have vehicular homicide as something to charge if somebody engages in some behavior and kills somebody. So the Senate's taken that out and we're putting it forward to the House. That should be in the reprint that you have for House Bill 208.
Thank you. Any other members have thoughts on this bill? Okay. So moving on, we are holding HB 219, taking that off our agenda for today. And we will move to HB 250. This is the Disabled Veterans Registration bill. There was a lot of confusion about this bill last week, and we have that confusion sorted out. Patrick, you want to walk us through it, please?
Yes, and again, you should have that amendment as I try to find it. This is the amendment to House Bill 250. It's a reprint that you have, actually. Apologize. And what this does is it just authorizes NVA to issue a special disabled veteran registration plate to an applicant that shows proof satisfactory to the administration that they're an armed forces veteran who is between 50 and 99% inclusive service-connected disabled, as designated by the Federal Department of Veteran Affairs. And it authorizes NVA to issue that license plate without displaying the international symbol of access in recognition of the service-connected disability. And I'll say one thing. I said, is April on here?
Yes.
There is a provision. There is a provision that says that, you know, if you have joint owners of the vehicle, and then the vehicle is, or excuse me, if the vehicle is sold from somebody who is eligible for this license plate to somebody who is not, that they have to return the plates. But if the person is a jointly owned vehicle who they're transferring it to, like by death, and it goes to a joint owner or something like that, then there's no fee for the replacement of registration plates.
Okay.
And April is suggesting that that apply also to spouses.
Correct.
Yep. I don't see any problem with that.
Delegate Davis?
Thank you. Did we establish whether this plate would give them access to the handicap parking?
We did, and it does not. It is a separate plate.
As it's written now, it does not.
Thank you.
with the amendments that we've been working on. Mhm. Any other questions? All right. Anybody have a motion on this bill?
I'd
Start
love
with
to
the
move
amendment.
favorable.
With
Okay.
the-
Amendments.
Oh, with the amendments, move favorable. Or
Let's
do we
move-
need to
I'm
vote
sorry.
on it separately?
Is there a motion on the amendments?
Move favorable on the amendment.
Second? Excellent. All those in favor of the amendment?
With the spouse on it?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. All those in favor of the amendments?
Aye.
Aye.
Great. Anybody opposed? Excellent. Is there a motion on the bill as amended?
Move favorable again.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor of the bill as amended?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Mr. Casecamp, can you turn off your video, please? Thank you. Okay, so the bill as amended passes unanimously. Thank you all very much. Okay, we are moving to the two-person crew, HB 352. Patrick.
Well, this is fairly straightforward in what the bill does. It requires a train that's used on a passenger train that's used on a freight route to have a crew of 2 men or 2 people or more, 2 individuals or more. It's the same bill we've had probably since 2017 or
Are there any
roughly the same.
amendments?
Nope.
Move favorable.
Second.
Excellent. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Excellent. Anybody opposed?
I am.
Delegate Jacobs? Okay, bill passes. Thank you very much. And so that's a straight favorable. Okay, moving to HB 353. This bill authorizes cameras on every traffic control device. It's enabling for local jurisdictions. And I understand that Chair Healy has something she would like to say.
Yes, thank you very much, Madam Chair. This bill is something that I've been working on for a couple of years now because there is a serious problem for 2 reasons, and I want to just remind you that from the bill here. One is that it is a really serious safety issue where in some places stop signs are being run all the time, and it doesn't matter if they have bright lights flashing around them, the stop signs still get run through, and one-way streets people ignore and go flying through, and people have been hurt, and there have been serious or not so serious, but not deadly, but serious accidents, and that's only half the reason. The other half of the reason is what we've heard ever since we started to work on the police reform is these and the things that we see in the news way more times than I can even imagine ever that have happened in the last few years of police encounters with people of color where they're pulled over for some minor thing and it turns deadly. And so I want to give the local governments the opportunity to minimize those opportunities. Last year, I had a different bill. I had a companion bill that made all of these secondary offenses. I didn't put that bill in this time. I just wanted to focus on enabling the locals who experience these things to make those decisions at the local level. And you've heard the stories about one particular street in my district, but I can't believe that this is the only place it happens. So I did put it in as a statewide bill. If it is the will of the subcommittee and the committee not to support this bill this year, I want to let you all know I fully intend to bring it back next year as a local Prince George's County bill. similar to what we did with Indian Head Highway a few years ago. And with that, I'll let you know what happens next happen.
Thank you, Delegate Healy. I appreciate that.
Mhm.
Is there a motion on the bill?
I move unfavorable.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor of the unfavorable?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No,
Okay. The bill, the unfavorable motion passes. And Delegate Healy, I will offer, because I know there's one stop sign in particular that has caused a lot of challenges. I am offering to you to talk to you over the interim to see if there's to offer my support, to see if there's something we can do together that we can move through. So
yeah,
I am
and that is
offering
not just one stop sign. That's a whole series of stop signs that,
Well.
that get ignored. Yes. Okay.
Okay. Moving to House Bill 367. This is enabling to put cameras on every stop sign and to have these graduated civil penalties where it's on the ticket and somebody checks off their income and they pay a different amount. Is there a motion on the bill?
I move unfavorable, and I just want to say, I totally respect the sponsor of this bill. I just don't think that we're there yet, and I know that my district would not like this, so I move unfavorable.
I second that.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor of the unfavorable motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
I'd like to abstain on that.
Okay. Delegate Stewart is opposed. Delegate Healy is abstaining. Okay, the unfavorable motion passes. And I lost my agenda. I think the last one.
It's House Bill
Yes.
537.
Yes, thank you. House Bill 537. This is the MVA that MVA has to give a new notice of the fine or fee every 30 days until the fee is satisfied. We got a letter from MDOT that talks about what it would require and that what they currently do. Patrick, do you have anything else you want to add on that one?
Just for the record, the sponsor offered an amendment that kind of limits it to insurance fines, but I think it was obvious that this bill was talking about insurance fines the whole time.
Yeah. So let's see. MVA anticipated that it would cost about $3 million annually. So, is there a motion on the bill? Going once?
Move unfavorable.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor of the unfavorable motion?
Aye.
Anyone
Aye.
opposed? Okay, the unfavorable motion passes. Once again, we are super efficient. We cleared the deck. I love it. Not even half an hour.
Very good.
Thank you all very much. I appreciate you and I appreciate your attention to all of these bills. Keep an eye out on Tuesday, our bills that we voted out of committee. Today we had 4 of them, I think. They'll be up on the floor on Tuesday, so that should be fun. Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Good night.